Companies and organizations all over the world seem to be spending significant resources and energy driven by the dream to become a player on the global stage. And the data available to them continues to support that dream. The futurists predict how the marketplace is changing and becoming globally open and responsive to a broader array of products and services. The business titans keep searching the globe for the most lucrative or hot market for their products and services. Natural resource-driven companies are looking for the most cost-effective locations for sourcing raw materials, a search that has them scouring many remote places of the globe for the next big find. Manufacturing and fabrication groups are looking for the most cost-effective locations for assembly and distribution. Now, lest you think I am suggesting these are in some way negative, these actions do provide opportunities for various economies around the world to grow and provide greater participation by their population in higher standards of living. An article in the latest The Economist magazine related the following statistics from the International Monetary Fund about the shifts and predicted shifts in various economies over the next several decades. The charts rank the nation's GDP in current market exchange rates. Note the shifts in the countries between 2005 and 2040. For example, Mexico is expected to move ahead of Germany and France. A few reasons cited for the shifts are: emerging economies are much less dependent on foreign capital than they were a decade ago, leaving them less vulnerable to the whims of investors. Underlying economic health has improved. Structural reforms and sound macroeconomic policies have made them more able to sustain robust growth and to withstand adverse shocks. Inflation has been tamed, and many countries have trimmed their budget deficits. Indeed, on average, they are running much smaller deficits than the rich world. The author goes on to say, rich economies can grow only by inventing new technology or management methods. Poor countries, in theory, should find it easy to grow faster because they can boost their economy and productivity by adopting innovations from richer ones. So the global landscape is changing, yet ripe for organizations wishing to participate. And while there may be new opportunities in which to participate, how might one make it happen, so to speak? What fundamentals will help provide success? Well, having started with an economic frame, I do not profess to be one, nor do I claim any expertise in that field. Rather, the economic vision of the future appears to present unprecedented opportunities for successful organizations and companies to participate in ways historically unavailable. So the questions we really need to wrestle with is, how do we prepare to participate? How do we participate? Where you participate is your choice. While there are multiple approaches to describing the global environment, I believe that most of the lessons we need to learn are very close to home. I suggest that working as a global company is essentially local to local. All products and services involve a series of local operations dealing with local suppliers to deliver goods and services to local customers or consumers. At the same time, I am not saying it is not complex. If there is some merit at looking at global business through that lens, what might be some of the threads that are critically important, and where might we look for clues to learn the elements for success? First, looking within ourselves may provide many of the clues. Second, looking into your current organization will provide an additional set of clues. And third, looking at how you develop and deliver value to and understand your local customers should provide insight into most of the other clues. In other ITC broadcasts, we spoke about the requirement of people working in a global environment to have a mindset of a leader. Let's take a look at that same concept from a slightly different point of view this time. Successful leaders begin with a deep understanding of themselves. All serious leadership starts from within, write James Kouzes and Barry Posner in their recent book, A Leader's Legacy. Quote, an intensive introspective look ultimately allows effective leaders to be centered and confident in whom they are and clarifies what is important to each person, unquote. They come to understand what they like, what are their strengths, what they fear, what drives them, what excites them, and what motivates them. Armed with this knowledge, they can articulate what they believe with more clarity and identify how it influences their actions, reactions, and responses. Paraphrasing a recent leader, it's the origin of my strength and the platform from which I operate. Certainly, one of the best pictorials of the components of leadership we have found is one presented by Bill George, former chairman and CEO of Medtronics Incorporated, in his book, Authentic Leadership. Mr. George begins with the concept of leaders' understanding of self. Self is at the center. Since clues to understanding self is gained by self-awareness and actions visible to others, the expression of self and leadership is viewed through the following variables. Purpose, the why. What is my purpose? Leaders know what they want to achieve, a clear direction. According to James Kouzes and Barry Posner, teachers and authors who have explored leadership and leaders answer that question by saying, quote, leaders serve, unquote. Being a leader brings with it a responsibility to do something of significance that makes families, communities, work organizations, nations, and the environment and the world better places than they are today. Only leaders that serve earn commitment. Values. Values are the guides used for making decisions and actions. The core beliefs a leader has adopted through his or her life and uses to act are expressed through their behaviors. Behaviors are the window others have to see one's values. Others will be attracted or repelled based on those behaviors. Relationships. How one relates with others is a reflection of how they value others. The interactions define those relationships. Establishing trust is essential for leaders to be effective. Trust takes constant building and nurturing. Leaders must manage trust. Self-discipline. Consistency of behavior around personal standards and expectations. Self-discipline requires courage to act and consistently attracts constituents and creates a safe environment in which they can thrive. Heart. How one cares for others. A leader who does not care will not attract the hearts of their followers and will quickly lose them. A leader who cares generates caring among others. Leadership can be most effective when both leaders and followers mutually care deeply for one another. So some of the questions for you as leaders. Have you taken the time to really discover yourself? Are you as clear as you can be on who you are? What is your purpose? What is your vision for your life? What is your vision as a leader? What are your values? Are they clear? How do you address situations where one value seems to clash with another? What behaviors demonstrate your values? How effective are you at developing meaningful relationships? Is it easy or is it difficult? Are you self-monitoring, deliberate and disciplined? What are your standards? Do your actions reflect consistent alignment between your words and your actions? Do you really care for those around you, even those with whom you may not see eye to eye? How does it show up? Do you let others care for you? Answers to those questions, I believe, are the first clues to one's ability to be successful operating in both the local and the global environments. Assuming those are the core elements of a person who is effective as a leader, how do those same concepts extend into an organizational context? As part of the leadership training we use, we suggest that the concepts that make an individual leader successful are the same as those that make an organization successful. Using familiar organizational language, let's extend the model. At their core, successful organizations understand what the organization believes to be important, its needs, its culture. Namely, what are those beliefs expressed or not that the organization holds most deeply and dearly that are recognized and rewarded? Those beliefs from which the organization will not waver. An organization that knows and understands itself in this way acts from a very strong foundation. Recalling the word Kouzes and Posner used, it is the source of understanding the service the company chooses to provide. Like a leader, the organization must have a direction. What does it want to become? This is the vision of the organization. Successful organizations begin with a clear, feasible, desirable, shared and exciting vision of the future. You can get more details from earlier broadcasts on creating visions. The organization's vision may be different from each of the individuals in the group, but for success, the vision must be aligned, linked, and shared with those individuals. Recall that a vision comes from a clear understanding of the core of the business and an understanding of all the people within the organization. That is supplemented by the systematic review of multiple inputs from all organizations and stakeholders. Visions create opportunities. Opportunities to develop new products and services, opportunities to improve, and opportunities to strike out into new ventures. Like a leader, the behaviors supported or condoned in an organization are the expression of the corporate values. Nothing speaks more loudly to clients or customers about who you are than your values. Nothing connects your organization or company to the global marketplace more than your values. Ultimately, as you become globally dispersed, you will learn that the primary thing connecting your organization or your company is your values. People within an organization want to be connected. They want to be connected to the company, to their leaders, to the groups or teams, and to each other. They want their work and contribution to be connected to the success of the organization. and is one of the keys to achieving a high level of engagement and commitment. The connection or belonging gives them clarity as how to fit in. The connection is defined by the extent to which relationships are easily built and nurtured. Within an organization, members expect consistency. To be successful and understand the messages communicated throughout the organization, they expect consistency of work, action, and consequence. This gives them the freedom to participate in the most constructive ways. The opposite creates confusion, disenchantment on the part of the member with their work and with their company. People care and want to be associated with organizations that care. This means an organization that is genuinely interested in the well-being of the member. An organization interested in providing an exciting, learning, personal growth environment. An organization that is interested in having engaged members who care for the organization. I'm reminded of the story of a young man who worked for a computer backboard fabrication company during the Northern California earthquake of 1989. The company was widely recognized for how deeply it cared for each of its employees. The young man was in charge of receiving evening shipments. The company, having implemented just-in-time inventory practices, had 2 truckloads of computer backplanes that were delivered each evening at 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. for the next day's fabrication. The earthquake struck at 5:04 p.m. Like others, the young man's first thought was family and their safety, so he rushed home to ensure his wife and children were safe, got them situated, and then returned to the plant to receive the deliveries. Fortunately, the roads to the facility were not damaged, and the trucks did arrive, but a few hours late. Using a generator he brought from home to power the lights, he waited for the trucks, had them unloaded, and the inventory ready for the next day's production. His boss did not ask him to do it. No one else was there to tell him to do it. He did it because his experience was the company and colleagues deeply cared for him, and he wanted to ensure that they could continue to work the next day to deliver an important order for a very large client in Japan. The company cared, he cared. Reflecting on the above characteristics of an organization that engages and excites participation by members, what are some of the questions that you might ask yourself about your organization that will provide insight into creating success at the local level? What is the core service your company provides to your local and greater communities? What vision excites and attracts members to your organization? What consistent set of behaviors do members experience? And how do they articulate the ethics of your organization? How does your organization connect to your members? What level or depth do you establish in those relationships? Do your members experience a consistency of message through word and action, no matter who or where they are within the organization? My bias is that how you answer those questions will give you a second series of clues to define your preparedness to enter the global marketplace. As a third step, let's look at how information from our local clients and customers may provide insight into those drivers that could give us clues to be successful in a global environment. By extending the model once more, we can add a client-customer perspective. Let's begin again at the center, the self of your organization. How do your clients and customers understand the core of your business, or describe the core service you provide? This is not a description of your products and services, but a description of how you contribute to your communities. How do you communicate and inform them? Your vision plays an important role in attracting customers and clients. You might think that very few of your customers have ever heard or seen your vision, and that may be true. However, each interaction they have with your organization provides a glimpse of where you are going. More overtly, your advertising and actions reported in the news reveal a lot about your vision and direction. Good clients and customers get excited when they learn those things because they want the organizations from which they buy to be successful over a long term. How your organization and your members behave in the community provide a very clear communication of your values and ethics. Customers and clients are attracted to you when they believe your values are aligned and congruent with theirs. If there is any question, they will take their business elsewhere. Being aware of how your behaviors are received in different cultures in their local environment will define your global success. Different types of organizations and businesses have different types of customer interactions that define their relationships. Some organizations may have very transactional relationships, and others may require developing long-term, deep personal relationships. In either case, as Jan Carlson reminds us, each is a, quote, moment of truth, unquote. The moments when you must prove to your customers that you are their best alternative. Each moment is an opportunity to demonstrate and reveal the truth about your organization or business, revealing whom you really are, what you believe, and how you'll behave. Each moment of truth is also a learning experience for the organization to understand the needs of customers and their requirements for functioning successfully in globally dispersed local markets. Credibility with customers is built on repeated, predictable interfaces and experiences. A disciplined organization provides repeated experiences that delight customers. Disciplined organizations tend to provide higher quality products and tend to solicit more feedback. Finally, customers want to know that organizations from which they buy care about them, not just the products or services they sell. Organizations that care tend to listen to their clients and respond quickly. In the context of this discussion of being a local-to-local global company, how does your organization or company wish to be perceived in the local communities in which it lives and works? How does your organization or company wish to be perceived by your local clients? How does your organization or company wish to be perceived in the context of the global business community? And how will your organization or company be perceived by globally dispersed local clients or customers? What is the core service your company provides to the greater community? What vision excites and attracts your client base? What consistent set of behaviors do your customers or clients experience? And how would they articulate the ethics of your organization in a globally dispersed local setting? How does your organization connect to your clients or customers, and what do they and you learn from your moments of truth that provide insight about working in different local environments? Do your customers or clients experience a consistency of message or service from your organization? Do they experience you caring? Once again, Assuming that operating globally is really mastering local to local, the answers to successfully operating in the global environment are always found locally. This is your key to truly becoming global.